When COVID-19 hit our state, thousands of Nevadans found themselves in need with no idea where to turn. With the needs increasing every minute, Nevada's nonprofit organizations and philanthropists stepped up. Nonprofits rallied together to find the needs and fill them.
When COVID hit in 2020, United Way's gathered the information, Moonridge Group shared that with philanthropists, and then the funding came to fund the most and greatest needs.
Philanthropists committed their resources to investing in programs creating results.
I was very aware of the needs in the community that were going to come because of the pandemic.
Community members gave their time and money to support those most in need. Within weeks of the first stay-at-home order, organizations were using data and research to identify some of the most pressing issues of the pandemic: distance learning, hunger, housing, and developing new collaborations to address them.
During this time of crisis, everybody opened up. Everybody said, this is where we're at. This is what we have to offer.
We're highlighting 3 of these innovative solutions to COVID-19's impact and honoring all of the people and organizations that have helped Nevada respond and recover.
In March of 2020, we found ourselves where we had to have all of our children learn at a distance. And even though as a state we have participated in distance learning for decades, we have not had the whole entire system, 500,000 children, that were participating at a distance.
The first awareness that I had of our having a problem with the digital divide was really magnified at a State Board of Education meeting sometime in the spring when Dr. Jarrah was there, and I had inquired how many kids had sort of disappeared once we had shut down. And he sort of explained that almost a third of the kids in the Clark County School District were not connected.
I had a great conversation with Elaine Wynn. Jim Mirren had put us in touch, and she very succinctly described the situation that we were seeing on the ground, which was our students here in the state of Nevada needed a plan to make sure that we had a reliable internet source as well as a device. From that conversation with Elaine, we really put together a project plan to tackle this emergent need.
Because we had to very quickly get a legal agreement in place, find a vendor, create the processes, a nonprofit can move that quickly, especially a nonprofit that's motivated by doing whatever it takes to get kids across the finish line.
We knew that we had government officials who were all in. We knew we had nonprofits and the private sector who were all in, but we had to get out into neighborhoods. We had to talk to families, and that's how we did it, was working through the community. We had a list of more than 600 community members statewide that we would email almost every day. And I can say that there wasn't one time when we asked for help when people didn't step up.
We would not have gotten across the finish line if it wasn't about collaboration. About 2 months into this process, we realized that we were not going to be able to reach all of the families, either by them calling us or us calling them. We knew we were going to have to send people to their home. Every one of our municipality partners stood up and said, absolutely, we will give you people to help go knock on doors.
When you have examples of how you can put a community of neighbors together in a meaningful and intelligent and coordinated way, that you can move mountains. It sounds trite, but I think we may have been the only state in the country that made the commitment to connect all of our children to a device and a service, and were able to do it.
In my entire career, I have not seen so many people from different backgrounds, different abilities and resources come together. It warms my heart to think about what we have accomplished. Do we have a little ways to go? Absolutely. But can we get there? Absolutely.
If COVID would have hit 5 to 10 years ago, we as a community and state weren't connected. We weren't as collaborative as we needed to be. We didn't have trust amongst one another. But over the last 5 to 10 years, we have excelled. And as a result, when COVID hit in 2020, United Way had weekly meetings where they provided information, the data, the timely best practices and trends. Moonridge Group then took that information the next day, held weekly calls with funders, and funders were able to learn real time what was occurring in food insecurity, mental health, the digital divide, and the funding came.
The reason I decided to fund Delivering with Dignity was first because it was taking care of two very obvious needs. One was unemployment in the restaurant industry, and second was delivering food to the most insecure in our community. It's very easy to follow the lead of Elaine Wynn, Elizabeth Blau, Julie Murray, and Poonam Mathur.
Where do we get the food? Where's that coming from? We knew that restaurants were going to be dying on the vine. And so at some point, Elizabeth Blau, who is a restaurateur extraordinaire, said, restaurants, let's keep some of them alive. They will pour extra love and gratitude into every meal as a result. Second, how do you deliver it safely to doorsteps? It is literally 150 or more volunteers every single week who give up a couple of hours to make it happen. Third, how will we know who is triple threat and most vulnerable among us? And we made a decision to simply trust and work alongside the nonprofits who know these people best. We were just honored to be the food solution.
We knew that there were going to be a large number of men, women, and children who could not get out of their homes because of COVID in order to go to food pantries and food shelters. The funders needed to trust that this brand new initiative that was born overnight would be something where their dollars were spent wisely.
We learned about the solutions being offered through Delivering with Dignity, not only through Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall, who reached out regarding the need in the rural, so in the Reno-Sparks area, but then seeing the success in Southern Nevada, we were very confident with the people behind the program that it would be a success, both in the Reno-Sparks area and Las Vegas as well. And we're so grateful for the work that Delivering with Dignity did, and that Nevada Gold Mines was able to be a partner to help fill those needs within our communities that we care about.
We have served almost 400,000 meals to most vulnerable Nevadans.
When you hear the voices of the people that philanthropy touches, it makes us as a community and state so proud that we all work together so hard to make sure not one person did get left out.
The meal is wonderful, but the human touch is an incredible part of the opportunity with Delivering with Dignity. So for me, the ground wire is actually driving those meals to those people. The philanthropy is wonderful, but the volunteerism, that's the heart, that's the substance of what we're doing here.
Our nonprofit community here in Nevada quickly responded to the impacts of COVID-19. Nonprofits were pushed to the limits to make sure that we were supporting everyday Nevadans who now needed us now more than ever. Both United Ways stood at the middle of this work with the launch of our emergency assistance funds.
On March 18, 2020, NV Energy, Barclays, Wells Fargo Foundation, and Bank of America came together to help United Way stand up the Emergency Assistance and Community Needs Fund.
With the need that we saw and with tens of thousands of our customers, fellow Nevadans, being laid off almost immediately, we really had to triage and focus on emergency basic human needs. The first two calls that we made were to the United Way North and United Way South and said, how can we help? And they were ready.
Both emergency assistance funds in the North and South help support that increase in need to ensure that nonprofits could help those who needed it the most.
The emergency rental and utility assistance programs usually serve folks at a certain income level that are experiencing a hardship. I think for the community, this was the first time that the hardship was so broad. Having a strong collaboration and partnership with United Way obviously helped us to move this along quickly.
We have years of history of providing additional funds to help those agencies on the front lines. This allowed us to quickly stand up our funds to respond to the impacts of COVID-19 and get those funds out quickly to the agencies.
Some of the great ideas and programs in this community happen because there's a collaboration.
The program that United Way of Southern Nevada is conducting and doing serves the entire community. When United Way is involved, it is about the entire community.
United Way was able to zero in very quickly because of the professionalism of their operation and their staff.
As we face new challenges as a result of COVID-19, bringing to light the disparities that have always existed, Nevada's philanthropic sector serves as a shining example of how we can move forward together. They are continuing their efforts to serve the most vulnerable individuals in our state. Nevada's nonprofit organizations and philanthropists are investing in solutions that will create long-term change and building a strong community of leaders ready to take on the next challenge. Neither government nor philanthropy can solve the challenges Nevada faces alone. By uniting public and private partnerships, we can create a sustainable and scalable model to solve problems in our community. There's nothing we cannot do when we collectively decide to do it. Together, we're building a roadmap to recovery and reimagining all that Nevada can achieve.